With online sales and the exclusives at big boxes, can local game stores still exist? Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. This is not going to be a doom and gloom episode of this channel where I tell you that game stores are failing, but we are going to talk about the current climate of the competition and things going against local game stores, and kind of have a conversation of what stores should be doing to pivot in that way. At least that's what my anticipation is of this video. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to support my local game store, I do run a card store called Kitchen Table Cards and Games. We've got this YouTube channel, we've got the card store, and we also have a Discord server where you can hop in and support the channel, support content like this, as well as buy product and support yourself. If you are venturing into this world of online sales and running a virtual card shop or an online card shop, there is the gold wizard stuff for you there at KitchenTableTCG.com, and join the Discord server. All right, let's hop in. Let's talk about the current wins of a local game store. What is currently happening in the world? And then we're gonna get into the big thing, things like GameStop's Operation TCG takeover that we'll talk about in a little bit. So many local card shops are still the hub for playing Magic the Gathering, still the hub for Pokemon events, still the hub for all these new card games that are coming out. You've got Riftbound. It seems like we are in a TCG renaissance a little bit. Like, things are going really well. There's a lot of really popular card games right now. There's a lot of really up and coming things that are providing a lot of players for local game stores. And I would venture to say that even though Commander predominantly is seeing a ton of growth at the at-home environment, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, all these other card games are growing in player base, and the TCG world is booming and is growing, and that is a really, really good thing and a very important thing, because these people need a place to play. They need seats to sit down against each other and play, and that is predominantly what a local card shop does and provides, and that is amazing. But in the same turn of that, you also have lower profit margins. Things like, obviously the tariffs are coming up. You have expenses at, the operating costs of running a local game store is at an all-time high. You've got the real estate industry, and all these things are charging more for your local game store than ever. So you have all those negatives, and then on top of that, product is more expensive, the cost of the goods and all that stuff has gone up. So the profit percentage is, this is why you see games like Magic the Gathering really trying to get their products to be selling at this new MSRP kind of thing. They really want game stores to be able to make a profit, but in order to do that, they have to make their boxes worth more money because they've already started charging more. And then we have this other dynamic in the current state of TCGs, which is that we had this COVID boom, this pandemic boom that is slowly weaning off and slowly fading away, and where you had these huge numbers and some of the all-time highs for Magic the Gathering cards and Pokemon cards have kind of started trickling back down. Now, Pokemon is in a whole nother world where we're seeing another huge resurgence that's now starting to trickle back down. But at the end of the day, we're still off, we're coming off the high of the pandemic in this current climate. So now let's talk, that's where we are. Let's talk about the key things that are a threat to the local card shops. One of the biggest things that I see as like a threat to the local card shop is direct to consumer sales from Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, the other trading card games, where the spend that would have gone through distribution, through the local card store, now goes directly to Wizards on, Secret Lair, or directly on Pokemon Center ETBs and Pokemon Center exclusives and that kind of thing. They have circumnavigated the distribution model and the local card shop model, and now, because of the internet and all that stuff, are doing direct-to-consumer sales. Now, that's not going to go away. I'm not saying that that's not the way things should be. Obviously, Wizards can do that and should do that for their bottom line, and Pokemon can do that and should do that for their bottom line, and that is the way that the world is going. But it is a major factor, as, when a new Pokemon set comes out, I now have somebody who spent money on that and also now wants that exclusive product. And same thing with Secret Lair. You've got the reprint equity that is being spent on direct-to-consumer goods rather than stuff that's being sold at your local game store and that kind of thing. So that direct to consumer is huge. But on top of that, we now have this world of exclusive products at these, big retail shops. You've got Costco, you've got Walmart and Target, all of these places getting restocks and getting exclusive products that we don't see as a local card shop. So you're getting big reprints and, kind of these big box items. And on top of that, you've got GameStop now talking about Project TCG takeover. They're literally talking to their managers about this new initiative where they want to take over the trading card game world. Now, I don't think that there's a world of which they start really hosting a ton of events and really making that work. I just don't think most GameStops have the actual store space to do that. But that is what they think is going to happen. And they are getting more and more exclusives, and they're doing the card grading, and they're doing all these things to take business away from the mom and pop retail shops like Kitchen Table Cards and Games, and like probably the place that you play Magic the Gathering or Pokemon. The other big thing that is happening that's kind of against us is the rising, cost of goods. We kind of already talked about that, but the rising cost of goods is it's crazy how much more expensive now a Magic the Gathering box is or a Pokemon box is. The spend that you need, the money, the capital that you need in order to start a local card shop has been significantly increased from where it previously was. So those are the things that are going against the local card shop. But here are some things that are exclusive to the local card shop that only local card shops can really provide. And that is things like the space and the events to play the game of Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or whatever it is. And this is by far the biggest thing that stores have that these other places can't come up with is butts in seats equals people just kind of spontaneously buying a pack here or there and that kind of thing. And the big thing that stores have that Target, Walmart, whatever don't have is the employees. And that is the thing that I feel like I have a ton of value in my employees who know Magic really, really well. And when somebody has a question about the game or somebody has a question about deck building or something, they have somebody that they can go to. And that is such a huge sales point for why you should spend time in a local card shop, because there are amazing people who can help you and want to help you and want to share their knowledge and their expertise about the game with you. And that is something that all local card shops should continue to lean into and to enjoy and continue to value in their card shops. The second thing that I think, if you are a local card store, what you want to be focusing on is because the direct-to-consumer product lines have gotten so out of hand, and because the margins on sealed product are so razor thin, doing things like trade-ins and buying cards from locals and having a robust singles inventory. Listen, I have learned that over the last 2 or 3 years, that is the number one way that we actually make profit versus just spend. Now, a lot of our revenue and that kind of stuff happens to be in sealed product, but a lot of the profit percentage, the margins that we want to see come from buying singles, buying collections, and being a place in the community where people know and can trust that they're going to get a good price, that they're going to get a fair price, and that we aren't going to sell them fake cards. We're going to buy real cards. We're going to help them and educate them. Again, having that expert knowledge, helping to educate them on what their cards are worth, and not just buying their cards, but helping them understand the value of their cards and that their cards can have value and that they can build their own collection, and that when they're ready to sell some cards, that we're there to give them a fair price and that kind of thing. So what can card shops do to make sure that they stay alive and can continue to pay those employees to do those things? Well, for me, the things that I look at is number one, diversification of product. One of the biggest things I've realized this past year with the huge booming Pokemon market is how valuable that game has been in addition to Magic the Gathering. When things are going, low and strong or when things aren't going strong in Magic the Gathering, to have Pokemon to kind of piggyback off of that has been really, really good. And we have some of those other smaller indie TCGs as well that just help to get more and more people through the door, help to provide different product lines, a second card game for somebody, that kind of thing. The diversification is really good because when one game has a bad set, you can kind of lean into the other game that might be having a good set and a good release and a structure that works really, really well. The other thing that I think is really good is having some sort of online integration. I would not ever suggest that you open a card shop if you don't have the ability to sell things online. That's not just having a website, but that's having the workflow, the processes, the staff, the energy, the capital to deal with returns and lies and people scamming you out of product. All those things are essential to run an online business. And really most card shops, a lot of their revenue, a huge percentage of their revenue is going to end up being that kind of online sales type of thing. That's just the way that the world is. So if you want to have a card shop without any online presence, I don't think that that is a viable business model anymore. I think really what you're looking for is just a place to hang out with your friends, which is fine, but don't call it a business and don't expect to see a huge return or the ability to provide those people who are hanging out, your friends who are hanging out in the store, to be able to provide with them the newest product and the most product and the allocation and the supply that people want when they walk into a card store, because you do need to have revenue and have profit and have all these things in order to get the product in the store. And that's a big part of that kind of procedure. And then the last thing is just that local advantage, leaning into the relationships and the fun that you can have with your local customers, producing really fun and different events. Things like, we're doing like it's not really us, but some of the people in our store right now are doing a budget commander league. And that's just a really fun way to get people engaged and into the store and having fun and building that camaraderie and that thing that really makes stores stand out, that local culture and local community that is really, really important to running a business. So at the end of this video, I just want to restate, local game stores aren't dying, but they are evolving. They all are having to change, and there's going to be constant flows. We're going to talk more about this GameStop Project TCG takeover. There's going to be a lot more pressure on local game stores to maintain business and to maintain buying and selling and keeping their businesses afloat. Is going to get harder for game stores. This last year has been easy mode for a lot of game stores. It's not hard to sell Pokemon product that's twice as expensive online at MSRP locally. It's not that hard to do that right now, but when everything catches up, when the market catches up, when these other things catch up, it's going to be hard for stores to do that. So they have to evolve. And at the end of the day, if you want those stores to continue to exist, you can choose to support the local store. Now, I'm not saying that you should justify paying, 100% over market price or 30% over market price. I'm not saying that there's any justification for any of that. Obviously, get the best deal you can, right? Like, that is part of it. But when you can and when it makes sense to spend money at your local game store, at least, offer and ask the owners and the staff, hey, what's something that you guys can do to work with this price or work with that price in order to support the local stores? Because if you do want a place to play with that expert knowledge and with that kind of the good sense of community, we do need support. And as a local game store owner, it's awesome to see when people are excited to spend money because they support that kind of thing. They see the value in having a community and having a place to play and that kind of thing. That's awesome, but stores have to do their part, and then customers also have to go their part. If you're just constantly buying things off of Amazon and you're paying the same amount online that you could pay in the store, or maybe you're saving $5 or something like that, maybe choose to pick up some more stuff from the local game store of which you play and you engage and you use their toilets and you use their seats and you use their toilet paper and their bath towel and whatever. So make sure you support the stores that you play at. That's all I'm trying to say. Let me know your thoughts about this. Obviously, this is a pretty contentious conversation. I know a lot of people in the Pokemon community particularly, they're just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to get product? I'm not saying that buying on Pokemon Center or buying Secret Layers is bad. I also buy on Pokemon Center. I also buy Secret Layers. We all do that kind of thing. But I'm curious on your thoughts on the local game store and Project TCG takeover from GameStop. I'm telling you, it's going to be a big thing over the next year. Have yourselves a great day. Be kind to the people around you. If you want to join the Discord server, head on over to KitchenTableTCG.com. We'll see you there.